We had him such a short time. We had the good moments, the happy times, the great times, the wins, the losses, beauty, love, horror, pain, sadness. Fame and love. Mostly love. We had him only through the spring of his life. There'll be no summer nor fall for David Carl Allison. But we'll hold what we have close and dear and in our hearts and minds for a long, long time to come. Fare thee well, Davey. Fare thee well.
TBS Sports and Motor Week Productions present the running of the NASCAR Winston Cup Miller Genuine Draft 500 at the Pocono International Raceway. To describe today's action, Ken Squire and Neil Bonnet.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ken Squire, along with Neil Bonnet, 40 race teams, and some 100,000 racing fans today. Everyone here, and I suspect you at home, come to this event with heavy hearts and misty eyes. And we're going to go racing. That's what this sport, that's what this community is all about. That's what Davey Allison's about. That's what Davey would have done, Neil.
That's exactly right, Ken. Davey Allison, what a competitor and what a person. It's times like this you question what you do next. I know one thing, our hearts and prayers are out to the Allisons. Judy, Bobby, Liz, the entire Allison family. I questioned myself, what do you do next? And I had some pretty good advice I'd like to share with you. Just a couple of nights ago, I sat down with Bobby Allison, and Bobby's the very person that told me, said, Neil, you make commitments throughout your life. When something like this happens, the only way to get it behind you is to fulfill those commitments and carry on. Ken, we must carry on. It's going to be tough, but I think that's what we have to do.
Thank you, Neil. Before we go racing, we invite all of you here in Pocono, along with our audience at home, to rise and observe a minute of silence in honor of our friend, Davey Allison.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Traditional command being given to 40 racing teams to fire up their motors and be ready to do battle here this afternoon at Pocono International Raceway. Great to have you with us here on TBS Sports. I'm Rick Benjamin in the STP Pit Center. We'll be keeping track of a variety of stories for you all throughout the afternoon here at Pocono. Beautiful weather day. Temperature in the upper 80s, and as Ken Squire told you, a packed house here to see the second Winston Cup event of the season, the Miller Genuine Draft 500 here at Pocono International Raceway. Just a few weeks ago, Kyle Petty took the measure of the field here. Today, he'll be starting pretty far back. Ken Schrader will have the pole as we will talk to him in just a couple of moments here today. But it's a wonderful day for racing and a full crowd here to see everything that is going to unfold this afternoon, and we're going to bring it all to you here on TBS. Let's get the thoughts this afternoon of the pole sitter. Randy Pemberton is standing by with Kenny Schrader.
Well, thank you, Rick Benjamin. Kenny Schrader has certainly had a roller coaster ride this season. You've had some great runs. You've had some good qualifying efforts, some good finishes. Second here last time, last weekend, taken out early in a crash. What's it going to be this week? Can you be a prophet? Are you going to be able to go to victory lane?
Well, let's say that the whole Kodiak team came to this race geared up for it. You know, we've had two good runs here in qualifying. Run second to Kyle in the race last month. He was dominant. Car's been running good. We're sure going to try, but I wouldn't make no guarantees on anything.
Any keys to getting around here? I know you had a great qualifying effort, but what about getting around here during the race? Will it change on you?
Well, it's going to change a little bit. It's hotter today, and it's a different temperature here it was last month. So we're just going to have to kind of play by ear. We weren't as happy as we'd like to have been with the car yesterday afternoon and changed a couple springs, so we think we'll be better.
All right, thank you, Randy. On the outside of the front row today, a driver who has not had much success this year. We talked with him a few moments ago. Bill Elliott is with the editor of Stock Car Racing Magazine, Dr. Dick Bergman.
1993 has been the toughest year in Bill Elliott's entire career. It has been an uncharacteristic season with no wins, no poles, no top 5 finishes. Indeed, the average finish has been 17th. But Bill Elliott is here this afternoon, starting on the outside pole with a very strong car and a very strong run. Strong enough to salvage the season, Bill?
Well, we would like to hope so. You know, in this business, you kind of take it a race at a time. But, you know, the main thing is just try to get the season something going to really work on next year, because I think Dale kind of sacrificed last year to come back to do what he's doing this year. And I think that's where we need to work on at this particular point in time. You know, so we'll probably keep trying different things, and we might not be where we need to be at the end of the year, but hopefully we're working all toward a goal on next year.
Well, he's won 4 here at Pocono, and I bet he'd trade every one of them for a win this afternoon. Rick Benjamin?
Thank you, Dr. Dick Bergman. Undoubtedly he would. It has been not the strongest of years, as you just heard Bill Elliott describe, but they're looking ahead already to 1994. Many of these teams, they'll want a good second half of the season. Of course, a tight point battle. Dale Earnhardt in command of the Winston Cup point standings at this juncture of the season as we are moving into the second half of the 93 campaign. But a lot of other money is up for grabs in the top 10 positions. Let's take a look now as we will cover lots of different stories for you today. In the garage area, Johnny Hayes is standing by.
Welcome to the garage area. This is not a fun place to be right now. You can see everything's empty, not a thing happening. Everybody's up on pit road. This is the place where nobody wants to be early. And it's my job to talk to these people when they have to come in here early. I think I'd just soon work maybe cleaning up the septic tanks. It's about the same kind of job.
Okay, thank you, John. Neil Bonnet, Ken Squire topside as they're coming around in the first of the 2 preliminary laps today. Well, consider this. We've got a field that's 2 7/10 of a second apart from first to 40th. Top 23 just 1 second apart on this 2.5-mile track. Neil, this is going to be a dandy.
Yeah, you know, all the guys really, they ran here a month ago, so they really know what they want to come back here and have something to run with. So they shouldn't excuses. Everybody should be quick today.
All right, let's take a look at the starting lineup now for this 20th annual on the Haviland grid. The pole sitter is Ken Schrader, and he's there with a new track record, breaking Alan Kowicki's old mark at 162.934 miles an hour. Bill Elliott, 3-time winner, here's outside of the front row. Going to row 2, there you find Ricky Rudd, the winner at Michigan last month, and the winner at Talladega in May. Ernie Irvan is on the outside there. Row 3 today, it's Mark Martin still looking for that first win of the season, and Jimmy Hensley's at his best qualifying effort of the year. Good going, Jimmy. In row 4, Bobby Labonte, the impressive freshman out of Texas, and Morgan Shepherd, currently ranked 4th in the Winston Cup standings. In row 5, it's Derek Cope, former winner of the 500, looking very good, and Brett Bodine in Kenny Bernstein's Ford. Row 6 is Dale Earnhardt, the current point leader, and Hut Strickland in the Junior Johnson Ford. Row 7, Jeff Bodine, and Bobby Hillen Jr. will be alongside. In row 8, it's Sterling Marlin. He has 4 straight top 10 finishes. Michael Waltrip is there beside him. Ran second in '88 here at Pocono. Row 9, Ted Musgrave says he's going to win this thing. He's been 5th the last 2 times. And the 5-time winner in '93, Rusty Wallace. Row 10 today, Kyle Petty, who dominated this race last month, and Jeff Gordon. He was second at Charlotte and Michigan thus far in his rookie year. Row 11 is going to be Harry Gant and Wally Dallenbach Jr. Row 12 is Dale Jarrett and Jimmy Spencer. Row 13, Rick Wilson and Greg Sachs. For row 14, a 4-time winner at Pocono there, Darrell Waltrip, Phil Parsons beside him. Row 15, it's Rick Mast and Kenny Wallace. Row 16 today, Dick Trickle, the Wisconsin veteran, and Terry Labonte, the '84 national champion. Row 17, T.W. Taylor, his second Winston Cup start, and Bobby Hamilton, the former Rookie of the Year. Row 19, it's going to be Jimmy Horton there, winner of a pair of ARCA races on this track, and Dave Marcus in his 728th start. Row 19 is Kenny Bouchard and Kerry Teague, and rounding out the field, it's Clay Young and Johnny Krebs out of California. And we're down for racing today on TBS. Coming for a start. Has a lot of great memories on this track from his modified racing experience, trying to hold off the Master. Earnhardt going for his 6th Winston Cup championship. The crowd is up and cheering as this great battle continues among these top drivers. What a performance they are putting on today. Martin draws away 4 or 5 car lengths. There's Earnhardt trying the outside again, Neil.
Well, I think he gets that outside line. This is where he's been good through this tunnels, where he's made a lot of passes. He'll lay way out by the wall. That enables him to cut right across the bottom. Right here's where he's done a lot of his passing in his tunnel turn. And he uses that outside line, wide swing in there, and lets him cut that corner off a little sharper. That's where he's been strongest, through that tunnel.
Over the years, young Brett Bodine, he's 34 now. Raced for Rick Hendrick, for Haas Ellington, Junior Johnson, Bud Moore. Now in his 4th year with Kenny Bernstein. Wallace gets into the picture seriously now. Back to the outside. Earnhardt sneaks a peek. Drops back in. Morgan Shepherd lying 4th. That 5th position, Ken Schrader. Taking a look at those Napa standings back through the field. Just joining us this afternoon, Ken Schrader set on the pole. Bill Elliott was outside. Schrader's made a great race of it today, but it was Earnhardt and Dale Jarrett riding the big story. Ernie Irvan led for some time. He's had trouble and retired from the race. In fact, there have been a total of 22 retirees. The engine's getting eaten up here on this 2.5-mile track at Pocono, Pennsylvania. Next week, the Winston Cup Series moves on to Talladega, Alabama, and the 500 there, the Die-Hard 500. Look at this move being made right now. To the inside comes Schrader. Schrader closing in, trying to knock off Morgan Shepherd, and I think he's going to get him right here. For 4th spot, give it to Ken Schrader out of Fenton, Missouri. And down in the grass and out of the race now is Derek Cope, who was having such a good day with the Cale Yarborough car. He was in that lead lap, had run up in the top 10. Latest report had him in 16th, and now he has pulled it off, and there is no caution for that. He is well off the track.
He's far enough off in, there's not going to be a caution. And I think some of these teams would have liked to seen that caution and get this question mark on fuel mileage out of the way and just go racing, but looks like we're going green still. Caution is out, Ken.
Caution is coming out. You're absolutely right at 174. Gee, what a shootout we're going to have here. Caution is out.
The big key there, the 6 car got his lap back. He's fought all day long. And now Mark Martin he did it the hard way. He earned it. He's fought everybody on that racetrack, and he's back in the lead lap now.
Diane Bodine, head in her hands, watching out here as Brett fights for it. Now the matter is who's going to take the gamble, who's going to do the most work on their cars. This is going to put Jarrett back in the picture. It's going to put Mark Martin back in the picture. What a dramatic finish we're building for at Pocono today, Neil Bonnet. Brett's wife, you're mentioning, there's Diane. Daughter Heidi, I'm sure, is here as well. Brett right on the edge of a major victory on a super speedway. This would be his first. You can see him scooping some air into the car here on that Bernstein car. But it's a whole new race when the green falls this time.
Let me tell you, the race is going to be pit road. I'd hate to be a crew chief right now. We know how much new tires help these guys. We know how important track positioning is. Do you come in and top it off with fuel? Do you come in and put 4 tires on where you can go fast? Do you trade the tires for track position? That's going to be the big question right now.
So Brett Bodine stays first, Earnhardt second, Rusty Wallace third, Schrader fourth, Morgan Shepherd fifth, Sterling Marlin sixth, Elliott seventh. We go to commercial now. Bonnet's going to come down there with his baseball bat.
Yeah, they better not go the truck.
So let's see what's going to happen as they come down toward pit road.
Well, I promise you they're coming. The question is, what are they going to do when they get there?
What would you do if it was Talladega next week?
Well,
you
track
were back there in the last of that, 16th or 17th. You put the rubber on, wouldn't you?
Well, if you're way back in the pack, you need to.
Yep.
If you're one of the lead guys, you got to question, hey, do I put them on or what do I do?
Leaders are all in. Dick Berggren is down there for car number 2. Randy Pemberton standing by with car number 26 as they come in. 2 has come to a stop. Let's go there quickly.
Last week, this crew did a lightning-fast pit stop at the tail end, and it helped very much when Rusty Wallace was on his way to victory at New Hampshire. This is the same car, the same crew. So far, it's a perfectly executed pit stop. 4 tires. Everybody's doing the same thing. Full load of fuel. They're clapping on the side of the pit. Randy Pemberton.
Well, they're going to take some wedge out of Brett Bodine's car. They're going to loosen that thing up. They did. They've got it so full of fuel, you couldn't put another drop in. This team absolutely loaded when that caution came out. They were not going to make it.
One reason they're celebrating is they won the drag race down pit road. They're leading the race right now.
There you see Rusty Wallace. And again, that work that the Penske people have been doing on pit stops seems to be paying off. Tires, who went with them? Let's take a look here. Car number 2, Rusty Wallace got tires. Brett Bodine, Dale Earnhardt collected some tires while he was on pit road. Looking further back in the field, we'll take a quick commercial break right now to get back to follow this action. They're all off pit road, and then we'll come back with more of this story. Stay with us here at Pocono.
Back at Pocono International Raceway, Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Less than 25 laps to go, and a great shootout taking shape here at the Miller Genuine Draft 500. Rusty Wallace first off pit lane. We'll see if he can hang on and make it 2 in a row. We want to send out some special thanks to the folks at KME Fire Equipment here. They're helping us with some beautiful camera work today. They've allowed us to put one of our TBS Sports cameras on the end of one of their high ladder trucks today, helping us provide some of the wonderful pictures you're enjoying today from Pocono.
Packed house. Biggest crowd ever here. Let's get some quick pit reports. Go to Dick Berggren first on those last stops.
Well, it's all smiles down here in Rusty Wallace pit, although they're puffing a little bit. Buddy Parrott, you guys did your job. How about Rusty? Can he hang on?
Well, first of all, let me explain to Roger Penske that we couldn't run but 36 laps on the fuel, and that's the reason we didn't pit. I know he's jumping up and down, but anyway, we got a caution now, and you better believe Rusty's going to do everything he can. You know, our car's it hasn't been exactly right all day, you know, but the guys in the pits, I tell you, this Penske racing bunch, I'm telling you, it's unbelievable what they just did, and I know everybody on pit road respects them, and I see the grandstand, everybody's screaming and hollering, so that's what it's all about.
What they did was a stop in 19 1/10 of a second. Earnhardt 19.2, and the 26 car had a stop at 21.2. Let's go to Randy Pemberton.
Donnie Richardson, you guys exploded in jubilation when that caution came out. I take it was close whether you could make it or not.
There was no question. We weren't going to make it. That's why we never pitted a while ago. Anyway you wanted to cut the pie, we were 4 laps short, so we had to just roll the dice, stay out, and hope this caution come around. So this is really what we needed. And this run's a shot in the arm for us today, and we needed this, and hopefully we can just pull this off and end up victory lane down there.
You loosened him up just a bit, so it's all his now, huh?
Yeah, that's what he said. He said the car's been pretty good all day. He just said, I need just a little bit. I got to go now, so just give me a little bit more. And so we gave it to him. Now we'll just have to see how it plays out.
As it plays out in those pit stops, Dale Jarrett was in at 20.4. Again, Brett Bodine had a 21.2. 19.1 was that amazing stop by the Wallace team. And as they line up on this restart, and there will be 179 laps complete when they take green. It'll be Rusty Wallace first. Dale Earnhardt is in second. Brett Bodine is in third. Schrader fourth. Elliott fifth. Shepard sixth. Marlin seventh. Rudd eighth. Gant ninth. Michael Waltrip is 10th. Dale Jarrett is 11th. Waltrip rides in 12th. Darrell. Then in 13th is Jeff Bodine. 14th is Bobby Labonte. And 15th is Terry Labonte as we come down. Mark Martin shows 16th as they get ready to come to the line. Mark Martin on that lead lap will want to follow him some. There you see Marcus on the inside. There you see Wallace on the outside. Lap cars down low as we get ready to decide this one. What a race this is going to be for the finish. A lot at stake here. Earnhardt right up there in second. There comes the flag. We're ready to go racing at Pocono. The Miller Genuine Draft 500 down for a decision as they stack them wide going for turn one.
See Darrell Waltrip way the inside, back in the pack. There's Rusty and Earnhardt diving off in that first turn. Got a little bit of a break. That's what they want. They want to get away from this pack and settle between those two cars. But I doubt seriously if two can get away from this group.
Back straight away on the sort out, going for his second win in a row. Rusty Wallace in first, Earnhardt in second. Here comes Mark Martin charging. Remember, he's tried all day to make the lap up. He's under Terry Labonte, working his way through the field. Comes car number 6.
Outside, now he's going to dive inside. He got to the outside of one of those cars. He's in some heavy traffic right there. He's having to wait for the traffic to clear. He'd like to go on, but he's got to let this traffic clear. He's going to make a run, probably waiting to get up there and then go totally inside, 3 wide right here.
There's what he's going to do right there. He's down to the bottom under Rick Wilson. He's got Jeff Bodine on the outside. They pull away from him for a moment. He fades to the outside. 3 wide, 4 wide in the main straightaway.
Look at Dale Jarrett coming up here. His car has really been strong all day long. Don't move Jarrett out to get back in the middle of this.
4.6 seconds between the leader and 16th position with 20 laps to go. There he goes, looking in the inside, just riding in the catbird seat for a moment was Mark Martin. Meanwhile, number 18, Jarrett knocks on the door. Michael Waltrip in 10th position. What a battle.
Jarrett's car is quick. You get caught back in that kind of traffic there, you have to roll out throttle. Here's Earnhardt putting a lot of heat on Rusty up front.
For the lead, coming around to complete 181. Brett Bodine pulls down to the inside. 100,000 people on their feet and cheering as they come down the main straightaway. Earnhardt to the inside. Wallace stays in first. Brett Bodine right there. Schrader fourth. And look at Bill Elliott. Started outside of the front row, back to 5th. The pole sitter back there in 4th.
Rusty gets a good run off that corner. That's the best thing he's got going for him because we've seen Earnhardt really strong over this tunnel all day. If Rusty can match him over the tunnel, it's going to be hard for him to pass him. Right here, Earnhardt usually can go across here and pull right up on people coming off that corner. There he comes, getting a run at Rusty. That sets him up for 3 and 4. Schrader going for $83,600 if he wins that Unocal bonus. Here's Kyle Petty back out, putting on a good show in the latter moments of this event. But remember, he was in for a considerable period of time. He's way back in the field. Boy, I tell you, Bodine pulled out. Brett Bodine pulled up under Earnhardt coming off turn 4. Got all the way up beside him, and Earnhardt got a good run off that corner. I thought Bodine was coming by. Brett Bodine continues to fight for a lot of these top leaders. Here comes Earnhardt. There's Brett Bodine right behind them. Earnhardt sailed down to the bottom. Now he gives it a shot, and he's back in the first place. Got up under him coming off of that second turn right there. I mean, first turn up on that banking coming down the short chute, was able to make the pass.
So it's Earnhardt back in front, looking for that 5th win of the season. Wallace in second, Brett Bodine in third, giving it everything he's got as he tried for his first super speedway victory. Meanwhile, here's Mark Martin tucked in behind. Jeff Bodine in the 15, fighting his way out of the back of the field in the late going, but he is in that lead lap and trying to close it down.
He's trying his best to get around Bodine. He made up that lap by working hard all day long, but now that the track positioning, which we've said over and over, the track positioning means so much, and he's hung back in the rear.
13th position. Trying to get himself unscrambled here. There you see Jeff Bodine just in front of him. Let's go back up for that battle in front. There you see Schrader underneath Brett Bodine.
That's the pole setter. That was the man with the fastest car at the track. He just got a Bodine, but he slipped. How many times during the day we see a guy pass at the tunnel and he slipped a little bit? Here comes Bill Elliott on the inside. They're going to be 3 wide going to that little flat corner. Oh, they're going to try it in there this time too.
Look at that. Morgan Shepherd to the bottom. And move Morgan Shepherd up a couple of spots on your program.
You will not see that done very many times if you come to this track year after year. It's hard to get 3 cars in there and bring 3 out. Usually you got a wreck.
Ricky Rudd closes fast. Gets Brett Bodine. Comes after Sterling Marlin. The 21 car, Morgan Shepherd, up to 4th. Schrader falls to 5th. In front, it's still Earnhardt, followed by Rusty Wallace. And there you see the rest of the contention. Down the back straightaway. 184 complete. Working lap 185.
There's Rusty. Even though Earnhardt got around him, ran him down, got around him, Rusty is not giving him much ground. Rusty's hanging in there with him. Still got a shot at him.
$800,000 in the coffers to be divided. The lion's share looks like it'll either go to the 3 or the 2 car, but it's a long way from over. Not that long, however. 185 this time by complete. 15 to go. Next time by. They've got 184. They put it up prematurely on the board. Read it too quickly. Beg your pardon. That means that I'll take it back. Now they're changing as they get themselves all the way into turn number 1. There are 15 laps from here to the end, with Earnhardt in first, Wallace in second. The 18 car of Dale Jarrett back in 19th position.
No, he's in 9th place, Ken.
My correction, I mean in 9th position.
He's really been coming too. We were just talking about that.
There he is.
He's coming across the tunnel. Ran down Rudd just a minute ago. Right up on him. Lost a little bit of ground on Rudd. He had to back out of the throttle.
Horton is spun. The active trucking car is down on the inside. No caution as yet. Field coming down the main straightaway. They're underneath the flag stand, and no caution flag put out. Jimmy Horton off the track with car number 32. Earnhardt first, Wallace second. Take a look at what happened here to Jimmy Horton, New Jersey native. Dick Trickle right behind him.
There's Trickle coming up off the corner. Caution is coming out.
Yellow is going to come out. Dick Trickle trying to get by. Ooh, Kenny Wallace almost getting caught there.
You know, I told you just a while ago I wouldn't want to be a crew chief. Now, how would you like to be a crew chief? Do you stay out? Do you come in? The guys in the back there can risk it, come in for tires and stuff. But, boy, I'd hate to be making the decision for these leaders.
186 laps are now complete, 14 to go. If you're out back among those 15 cars in the lead lap, think you want to come in for some rubber, they're back to the line. As they come across the stripe, it is Earnhardt first, Wallace second, Elliott, Shepherd, Schrader, Bodine streaking to the stripe.
The guys that are in the back, they have an easier choice. They can put the tires on and hope it helps them. The leader's the one that had the tough decision to make, where they give that position up, as we talk day in and day out.
So they're going to move the Horton car off. It spun the number 32 down to the inside. You saw it getting in contact with the Dick Trickle car and almost collecting the Kenny Wallace car as well. Under caution, laps running out.
I can't help but think, we're just talking about 13 laps to go. I can't help but think these guys will have to stay out there and race it out. You might see some of the guys in the back come in, but those front guys just can't give up that positioning.
16 cars in the lead lap. Some decisions to be made right now by these people that will be all important. I don't think there's too many decisions on the 2 and the 3. Some others we'll have to wait and see. We'll take a quick commercial break and come right back to give you the full race right to the finish without interruption. Stay with us here on TBS. Miller Genuine Draft 500 from Pocono. 189 laps of 200 will have been completed when they come down and take green to get this going. And after all that guessing, all that conjecture, guess who pitted? Nobody.
Yes, one car pitted just to bail me out.
A lap down.
Well,
Wally Dallenbach Jr. was a lap down.
That's why I was always the driver and not the crew chief.
Okay, we're getting set on a restart. How about it? Why are you going to come back next week and take a crack at it, Neil?
Just have some fun. That's the main thing I want to do is enjoy myself and see how I'm doing. And I'll tell you how we're fixing to feel here. We're fixing to get excited. These guys are going to put on a show for the end.
All right, here comes Earnhardt bringing the field down. That pace vehicle coming in. Rusty Wallace in second. 3-time winner of this event, Bill Elliott in third. Morgan Shepherd right there in fourth. They have the green. We're racing at Pocono, the final moments.
This is what these engine builders and everybody dread, slowing them down and having to wind them up, go through these gears, these restarts. They'd like to finish, but looks like we got a good clean start.
Away through turn 1. Short shoot up to turn 2. Wallace looking for anything. They stack them. You see the Mannheim car, Phil Parsons down on the inside, a lap car just behind him. Battle for third right here. Morgan Shepherd underneath Bill Elliott for third spot. Has it for the moment.
Yep, but can Elliott cut back? We've seen it all day.
Elliott, yep, right here.
Let me tell you, when you make that move out there, you open that inside lane up, you pass them, and you lose it right back. It's hard to take that position and maintain it.
So it's Elliott back to third. Morgan Shepherd falling again to fourth.
You think I should put a no passing sign over there, Ken, to save everybody the trouble?
You need to save it for next week at Talladega. You may want to hang it out the back of the car. Your buddy Earnhardt stays first. Wallace stays in second. And look at this skirmish. Down to the inside. Mark Martin really making some room now. Bobby Labonte in the middle. Jeff Bodine on the outside. Mark Martin screams down into that corner. He gets Bodine. He closes up on Harry Gant. What a run Mark Martin is making late in this race as he tries his best to get back up among the leaders.
The rule of thumb has always been get in single file. I guess the rule of thumb went out the window. These guys are racing 2 and 3 abreast, even through these short corners.
Not many rules here.
There's Mark Martin out there on the outside, trying around Waltrip on the outside. Gant leaning on the other car in front of him.
Down they come with Waltrip there for just a moment. Can he stay there? Holds onto it. Cranks it down to the bottom of the racetrack.
9 laps to go. So just crossed. There's Bill Elliott sitting in third place. We saw Morgan Shepherd pass him, and Elliott was able to get right back there. Boy, look at these cars all the way on the inside here.
And the guy that gives you a great show, and that's Bobby Hamilton out there today. Not much of a call on Bobby, but what a race he has put on, that Nashville, Tennessee campaigner. Bobby Hamilton being shown in 20th from the Heilig Myers car, number 90. We're riding with Bobby Hillin here in the final moments. We're at lap 192 when they come by this moment. This time around, Bobby Hillin is back in 19th, a lap off the leaders. Let's go back to those leaders. And Earnhardt for the moment draws away. Has himself 4-5 car length advantage over Rusty Wallace in second. Look at this battle further back. Here's Schrader coming after number 26, Brett Bodine. That for 5th position. Schrader to the inside.
And everybody else to the inside. One guy moves, they all move. Made that move even though he couldn't pass him. He made him think he was going to make that move. Got to set him up and try to work on the guy. Don't just sit there and follow him lap after lap. He's trying to get him thinking where he's going.
Sterling Marlin in 7th position with car 8 just behind Schrader. Sterling Marlin in 7th, the blue car. Ricky Rudd is in 8th. Dale Jarrett up to 9th. Michael Waltrip in 10th. Back in 14th is Mark Martin.
This is Rudd trying to come up. Rudd's car's running well all day. There's Jarrett right behind Rudd. The orange car of Rudd. Jarrett directly behind him. Here's Schrader closing in on Brett Bodine's time.
Look at Dale Jarrett down to the inside on Ricky Rudd. Dale Jarrett maneuvering through cars. Looks like Gant comes all the way to the bottom in the 33, and it's Gant there. Bill Parsons on the outside, a lap car, trying to stack him 3 wide. There goes Ricky Rudd up through.
Boy, that was a headsy move on Jarrett. He saw that they were going to pinch him down 3 wide. He rolled out of the throttle. He's got a lot. He's right there in that points battle. He didn't need to make contact there. Good move.
Look at Waltrip. Waltrip and Waltrip. Michael in the middle. Darrell on the bottom.
Says, "Rule, bro, I'm coming through." And he did. He cleared him right there and made it stick, which is something good to do right there. He was able to get by him and pull him off through that section of the track.
Dale Jarrett is up to 8th. See Ricky Rudd in 9th. Darrell Waltrip taking 10th. Michael Waltrip in 11th. Meanwhile, back in front, Earnhardt is there. Rusty Wallace going for 2 in a row after that great victory a week ago in New Hampshire. Stays in 2nd, and here you see Elliott running 3rd. Shepard is 4th.
Shepard has ran a tremendous race. They've worked all day long. Morgan was really working with the Wood brothers on that car, and they've got that thing running better every week.
Can Rusty Wallace show anything more here?
You can never tell about Rusty Wallace. That car right now might be running as fast as it possibly will go. But Rusty Wallace is one of the type drivers can set up on the edge of that seat and get that little bit out there that you didn't even know was there.
Rusty Wallace, who won that rain-shortened race here in 1988 with the help of Earnhardt. Remember, it was Earnhardt who earlier had wrecked, who pushed Wallace for a couple of laps under caution to save him some fuel. Then the May car resigned later that day. 5 laps to go this time by. Well, it was Wallace that won, thanks to Earnhardt in 88. Back in 87, it was Dale Earnhardt victorious, and he's trying to go for his 2nd one here right now in this July Miller Genuine Draft 500. He has the field covered by 10 car lengths.
Yeah, but that's not much. We've seen before. I don't think they're going to have to contend with lap traffic anywhere, but you've got to hit these corners perfect every lap. If you miss a little bit, have to crack the throttle, the guy will be all over you again. So Earnhardt's got to put down some good laps.
Elliott clear in 3rd. Shepard clear in 4th. Brett Bodine, he's still got a battle going, and a hard one. There's Brett Bodine working his way around some lap cars, and he's having to worry about Schrader. That's Dallenbach up on the outside, getting lapped. Here comes Schrader, just trying to nose his way through.
That little deal there, just having to pinch your car down under one of the lap cars, slows you down just a little bit. You don't want to give up anything right now this late in the race.
Wide open at over 190 miles per hour. It has been a great race all day. Everybody seems to have given it a little extra effort here at Pocono, Pennsylvania this afternoon. And Earnhardt, the Grandmaster these days, seeking that 6th championship. Only Richard Petty has one more at 7. For the moment, has this race in hand. Here's Rusty Wallace trying to close again, and you can be sure he's thinking of every possible thing he can do to get back in there and give it one more shot.
Ken, I can't help but think of sitting here. We say he's got this race in hand. You look up in that mirror, and all you see is that little black 2 coming. It's in hand when he dropped that checkered flag. I guarantee Earnhardt's sweating right now, and Rusty is digging all that little black 2 above.
Earnhardt looking for win number 58. Wallace for win number 27. Richard Childress just looking on, praying that 3 car can get there. Don Miller, his team. Buddy Parrott doing the same for the 2 car. Final moments. We're down to it. 3 to go. I would imagine for a guy like you that's won here back in 1980, for Earnhardt and those, you hear all those stories about hearing everything rattle and bounce around. I mean, this is strictly business at this point. All you're doing is focusing on your job just to get this thing home.
Let me tell you, what you got to concentrate on is hit right here. Hit that tunnel right. Get those left side wheels over. Flirt with that wall. Get the fast lap out of it. Drive it down in 3. Get it up. There's too many things going on to be listening to stuff rattle right now.
Elliott lies 3rd, Shepard 4th, Brett Bodine 5th, Kenny Schrader 6th. Change further back in the field. Dale Jarrett has just moved around. Harry Ganton taken 8th. There's Dale Jarrett clambering up through the field. This has been one of the, sometimes 2 to go. your best race, your best performance is not the one you win. Haven't you had that happen, Neil?
Yes, sir. I've worked harder in some races. I'd run 5th and 6th in the ones that you win.
And you feel good about it at night.
Yeah, the effort that you put into it. And everybody, I tell you what's tough is to run a race like you're watching right here and run 12 and say, man, I ran hard as I've ever ran in my life. But that's the way Winston Cup racing is right now.
Dale Jarrett can feel great about this race and his job in it. He has driven masterfully. Earnhardt stays up in front. Wallace in second with 2 to go. There they are. What a show. Earnhardt got all beat up last week. 38th, 34th position, way out of it. Lost a lot of points. Going to get a few back today. Not that many, but a few on Dale Jarrett in that Winston Cup point battle as it moves on to Talladega, Alabama. Back with you in September. We'll be at Richmond, Virginia on a Saturday night. 1 to go here. And Richmond always gives you a great race. And, of course, then in October is Charlotte, North Carolina. Certainly one of our favorites. One of yours, although it's treated you pretty bad sometimes.
Yeah, but, man, there's been good days there, too. That's the one you think about.
Earnhardt can pick up about 50 points based on today's race if it just holds together on this last 2.5-mile trip around the Pocono International Raceway. Rusty Wallace scooping a little air here at the end of this one.
He knows he's running as hard as he can. And he's seeing that little black 3 set out in front of him. I guarantee you, Rusty go home say, I ran as hard as I can. It's not over, but we just got 2 more turns to make.
He can feel good about today. Morgan Shepherd and Bill Elliott can feel great about today. The crowd rising to their feet. Not just for Earnhardt, but for all of these Winston Cup drivers for this outstanding event they have given in Pocono, Pennsylvania, after they have lost one of their own, one that they all admired, loved, and cared about. Dale Earnhardt has won. Rusty Wallace comes home second. Bill Elliott third in the most competitive automobile racing in the world. Earnhardt leads. Winston Cup standings will be the headline in Winston Cup scene this week by 223 over Jarrett. Wallace to third, 270 points behind. A little congratulations from Rusty Wallace to Dale Earnhardt for a race well run this Sunday in Pocono, Pennsylvania.
Seldom are we graced by someone who fills our lives with joy, excitement, compassion, and friendship. We, the friends and fans of Davey Allison, were honored to be associated with one of the most competitive and successful drivers in the history of motorsports, and one of the finest young men we have ever known. Thanks, Davey, for gracing our lives with yours.
For Hank Williams, life was full of hard living, hard loving, and honky-tonkin' good times. George Hamilton and the true story of a country music legend, Your Cheatin' Heart. 10:35 Eastern, Monday night on PBS.
It is a Kowicki lap that's being turned by Dale Earnhardt live here at Pocono right now. And there you see the battle flag of another car. As the race came to conclusion, we saw Rusty Wallace carry a 28 flag down here for a moment, and he threw it over. It was a smaller flag than this, and he went back to the garage area. And one of the mechanics, Smith, from car number 3, leading this team in prayer to the memory of a fallen comrade. And then, moments ago, they sent Dale Earnhardt on his way on his victory lap today in memory of Davey Allison. These pictures are coming to you live from Pocono International Raceway, where Dale Earnhardt has just recorded his 5th Winston Cup win of the season, and he's not forgetting anyone. Here's Rick Benjamin.
Ken, what a wonderful fitting end to one of the great races of this season, and certainly the entire afternoon, a tribute to Davey Allison. If you at home would like to remember the Allison family in whatever fashion, if you would like to send a contribution, send a card, whatever, here are some addresses you might want to take down. A fund's been established for Davey's 2 young children, and here's where you can send your thanks to them at the National Bank of Commerce in Hueytown, 35023, and be sure and address the envelope to the children of Davey Allison. Now, Bobby and Judy Allison have also mentioned that you could send a contribution to the National Head Injury Foundation, and they're at 1776 Mass Ave in Washington, 20036-1904. So if you'd like to participate in the memorials to Davey Allison, there's a way to do that. We'll never forget Davey Allison, certainly here at Pocono International Raceway or anywhere we might go. At the top of our broadcast today, we showed you a tribute to the life and times of Davey Allison. We want to thank all those folks who in the past few days have contributed in material, videotape, film, and so forth of Davey's life and times, and we really appreciate your help in helping us put that together and put it on this afternoon here on TBS.
And if you were interested in sending a personal message to the Allisons, it's Box 28, Hueytown, Alabama, 35023. Bobby Allison said, we want to thank the media, the fans, the racing fraternity, and friends worldwide for their condolences, their prayers, and their good wishes. And this crowd, I don't see anyone leaving. All standing, all waving, some in prayer, as car number 3 remembers car number 28 and is shortly to come back down this main straightaway and head into victory lane. We'll be down there to greet the winner today, Dale Earnhardt. Let's go to Rick Benjamin quickly.
Ken, as we watch Dale Earnhardt move back down the main straightaway, let's update you on the True Value Hard Charger Award. Dale Earnhardt pockets $5,000, leading the most laps by far with 1,790 points over Kyle Petty and Dale Jarrett.
Into the main straightaway with a Kowicki lap. Look at this crowd. This race is over.
Nobody's left.
Makes the turn. Now heads the right direction down pit road. A joyous victory lane. Heartfelt by everyone here. The winner of the Miller 500 today, ladies and gentlemen, Dale Earnhardt. And let's make ready to greet the champion today in this 500-mile test. Just about ready to get him out of that race car.
Ken, I don't know if I've ever seen a racetrack like this when no one ever leaves. Everybody usually makes a run to the cars, but they're staying for this. What a tribute to Davey.
Well, let's see if we can get down into the victory lane area there and get a word with our champion this afternoon, Dale Earnhardt, after this great performance in defeating Rusty Wallace and Bill Elliott. Dale Earnhardt taking an extra moment before he clambers out of that Richard Childress car.
Almost total silence at the racetrack now.
Yes.
Randy Pembroke.
Dale Earnhardt, a fantastic win for you. An Alan Kowicki lap, a tribute to Davey Allison with the flag. Just a great day for you in a tough time.
Well, all of us is in the memory of Davey. Was racing today. I'd run second to him in a minute if it'd bring him back. I mean, I'd do anything to bring him back. We're going to miss him a lot, miss Alan a lot, but we're going to miss Davey too. I just pray for Bobby and Judy and all the Allisons and Liz and the kids. Hope she, she got 2 kids to raise, and I hope she'll raise them in Bobby and Davey's eyes. And, we're praying for her and pulling for her to get through this. And, old car run good today. tough race. So Rusty got stronger at the end.
A lot of guys gave you a shot. You had some challenges early on. Rusty tried you. They loosened that thing up, but evidently not enough for you.
Well, we loosened it up, but then we tightened it back up, and then it got a little better. So we just did all we could do. Where's my sugar?
Taylor Nicole steps in. Dale Earnhardt's daughter, Teresa, standing by. Go ahead and step in here, Teresa. Hugging a kiss. Dale, I'll tell you, it was a fantastic run for you all day long. It wasn't in the bag, though, until late. A lot of guys gave you a shot early.
Well, that's true. Jarrett was real strong, and, Mark, he was strong. He just lost a lap for some reason. And then Kyle, he was strong. Something broke, and I don't know. We look at this old good wrench. She hung together. We had an alternator problem and had to run without all the fans and stuff, and it did real good, though. And I thought Rusty had something for me there at the end. We was running real hard, and I was giving it all I had.
Can you put in perspective what this means to you to come to victory lane on a day like this?
Well, to rebound back from last week is a big part of it, but with Davey in everybody's hearts and everybody's mind, and Rusty, he had a flag in his car as soon as the race was over, he pops it out. And I'm just sorry we didn't think of that, but we came down to the start-finish line and said a prayer. Dave Smith with the crew said a prayer for him and for the Allison family, and then we ran a lap in tribute of Davey and Alan. So. Hopefully the family can get over it and we can go on from here.
Congratulations on an entire effort for your entire team. Great job, Dale.
Moments ago, Dick Berggren interviewed second-place competitor today, Rusty Wallace.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Mic check, 1 2. 1 2 1 2. Well, Rusty Wallace is pulled in behind the gas pumps here. Almost good enough. What did you need to beat Earnhardt?
Man, I don't know. Just my car was just a little bit too tight. I pulled a little bit too high gear. I needed to spin a little more RPM out of the engine. But the engine was really good. Car handled good. Right there at the end, Dale has held 4 car lengths on me. I couldn't do nothing. He couldn't pull away, and I couldn't pull away on him. And so it was just like a pair of evenly matched cars there at the end.
The press has given your crew so much credit. Is it really the crew that's done this, or is it more than just the crew?
I think it's a total combination, They'll be the first to tell you
they've got.
That you got to have a good engine combination under the hood. You got to have a good driver in the car, and you got to have a good pit stop, The car handled good today. I thought I drove it as hard as I could drive it, and they did their job, too.
How worried should Earnhardt be about his championship this year?
Well, I'm in his mirror, I'm in his mirror all the time, and we gained some points in 18 car finally. But, hey, he's a good driver, good team, and we'll just have to race right down to the end.
And they're 5 wins apiece, Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt.
Earnhardt winning, Wallace second, Elliott third, Shepard fourth, Brett Bodine fifth, Schrader, Marlin, Jarrett, Gant, and Waltrip round out the top 10. In lieu of credits, we thought we would share with you some reminiscence of Davey Allison. Joined with us in the NASCAR family in remembering.
Out at Riverside, I guess Davey was maybe 14, 15 years old, and I was driving for Junior, and we had a really fast road race car, and it had Bobby tore all the pieces because he and I always had a real thing about who was going to win Riverside, and so he had Davey come down to our car, and Davey had a little old magnet taped in the center of his hand, and somebody had told Bobby we had aluminum quarter panels on the race car, and so Davey, he was walking around, he had his rubber kind of sliding along beside the car, and Junior spied him, and Junior said, "What's that little so-and-so doing anyway?" And he ran over and he grabbed Davey's arm, and he turned that hand around, and he had that magnet taped in the center of his hand. And I'm telling you right now, poor old Davey, it wasn't all that big anyway. He shrunk down to nothing. And Junior hauled him into the NASCAR office, and Gasaway said, "Boy, which car are you signed in on?" And Davey said, "Well, I'm not really signed in on a car." "Well, how'd you get in this garage area?" "Well, I came with my daddy." "Well, if you want to keep coming with your daddy, you better stay down there beside him." And Davey, he always laughed about that. We was always kidding each other about that magnet trick.
To get in a car and be capable of winning Talladega the first time you ever got in a car, I think speaks very, very highly of his talent.
I liked how he raced. He seemed to be a nice guy. I never met him, but I think I'd like him.
I tell you, the most fun I had with Davey is fishing, and he is competitive bass fishing. We've hooked several big fish together in the same boat. We fished a few times together. Matter of fact, the one I can remember most of the time, Neil Bonnet and I, and he went on a lake fishing together, and I'd catch one, Dave would catch one, Neil would catch one, and was all arguing about whose was the biggest and all that stuff. And that was a fun day. I think that was a more relaxed Davey Allison, away from racing pressure and everything, and we had more fun that day, I think, than any other time we've been together.
Generals. Two of my favorites were Jeb Stewart and Nathan Bedford Forrest. These were guys that lived on the edge, that loved the exhilaration of a cavalry charge. That's the kind of guy Davey Allison was. He lived on the edge his entire life. He loved race cars, he loved airplanes, he loved helicopters.
I remember Davey when he was just a kid. His dad had an American Motors deal. They raced Matadors out of their own shop, and Davey was probably 15, 16 years old. He had a little old Gremlin, big tires and loud muffler and all that stuff, and he just worked his guts out on his dad's race car. He's just like his dad, had all that grit and determination, and it was an uphill battle at that point. So as you watched him, you said, that kid's going to race.
Last time I was here at the Poconos, he stood out there with his little baby boy by his car, you know, signing autographs and everything.
But unfortunately, I guess the last thing I'll remember him by was when I won New Hampshire a couple weeks ago, and I slowed down for the victory lap, and he pulled up alongside me and raised the advisor up and gave me that big high five, like, job well done, and I never thought that'd be the last time I'd see him.
He would always find a time every week to sneak up on me and goose me, and it'd scare me, but it'd sure make him laugh. And I remember that, and I missed that this week.
Probably the biggest thing I remember is at Atlanta when Davey's running for the championship. I didn't have a shot at the championship, and I cut a tire down and ended up spinning and hitting him and tangled him up, and he lost the championship because of that. And I was knocked out for about 45 minutes, and Davey wouldn't leave the infield care center until he found out I was all right.
Just watching him on TV every week, we got to be interested in him. He was a real fighter, and he really impressed us. He was like a family member to us, and we never even met the man.
You know, he and I both started racing at about the same time, and you know, we'd go racing Friday nights at Birmingham and Saturday nights at Montgomery, and you know, Sundays at wherever. And
most of his memory for his courtesy is his driver, an outstanding driver, and also that he's still number one in everybody's hearts.
The smile that Davey always seemed to have on his face, the time that he had for people, especially kids. It's countless times that I saw him, the kids around, and he acted like they were his own, whether they were or not. And I think that's the unfortunate thing about this whole thing, are his two children that are going to miss a great dad, because he was fantastic. But he always had a joke and a smile on his face, and that's the way I'm going to remember Davey Allison. I hope you will too.